Hello, welcome to the Villages, Florida. My name is David. I'm a realtor with Florida Realty Investments, and every week I take a look at the real estate market in Central Florida, specifically the Villages. The Villages is a 55 plus community with basically all the golf you could want. We have 43 and counting executive golf courses here, 13 and counting championship courses. Executive golf courses are free to play if you walk. So, all the golf you could want, entertainment every night, 365 days at each of the three town squares. There's a live band. You can find shopping, dining, social activities. It is truly resort style life for those 55 and older. And if you want to know what's happening in the real estate market here, this is the channel for you. We're going to look at long-term trends on prices and price per square foot. We're going to look at how many homes are selling. If you want to get a perspective on the differences between the different regions of the villages, I've divided it into 4 geographic areas. I'll show you on a map where they are. So this is the show for you if you want to be informed. Everything is fresh as of today. A couple of things to note. First, the Villages has two distinct marketplaces, the VLS and the MLS. The MLS is the same marketplace you're familiar with from other areas of the country, also known as the multiple listing service. The Villages, though, has its own internal marketplace called the VLS, which is the only marketplace where you'll find new properties listed. But pre-owned homes are on both the VLS and the MLS. So if you only have a VLS broker, you will not be seeing MLS properties. And if you only have an MLS broker, you will not be seeing VLS properties unless you contact me. Please do so if you want to learn more about this. So, with the caveat that this is information from the MLS, and with the further note to check today's date to ensure you're getting the most recent information, we produce this show every Monday, so this information is fresh every week. If you find this information valuable, please consider liking or subscribing to the channel. It really helps us with the YouTube algorithm. And if you need to reach me, you can reach me at either DavidisinFlorida.com or DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. I try to keep this show purely informative and not focused on either buyers or sellers. Obviously, things that are positive for the market are going to be positive for sellers and negative for buyers, and things that are negative for the market will be positive for buyers and negatives for sellers. I try not to take sides. I have clients who are both buyers and sellers, and my interest always is to get them the very best deal possible. It's interesting to note that now that the real estate market has changed in terms of how buyers and realtors interact, that having a realtor who actually has knowledge of the market and can help you find an actual deal and help you negotiate to ensure that you close that deal becomes more and more important. So, if you are a buyer and trying to find a good deal, I think you'll find that our data driven approach will give you confidence that you're getting a good deal. And if you're a seller, I think you'll find that our data driven approach will give you confidence that the asking price you've chosen is the correct one. So if you want to learn what's happening in the Villages real estate market this week, here we go. We start every week by taking a look at interest rates. This is a chart showing you the yield on the US 10-year note. We're looking at weekly bars, and you can see that this goes back about 20 years. And the rise from under 0.5% to 5% over the last couple of years is very evident on this chart. It's anybody's guess as to what interest rates do from here, but we are still hovering close to 4% on the 10-year, which puts us close to 7% on a 30-year mortgage. Real estate prices will ultimately reflect interest rate realities, even though this might not be immediate for the villages. So now let's focus on the villages itself. For those unfamiliar with the villages, I'm giving you some orientation here. We are located in Central Florida, just at about an hour north of Orlando. As I zoom in on this map, every dot that you see represents an active listing on the MLS. The size of the circle represents the size of the home, and the color of the circle represents its price per square foot. The larger the circle, the larger the home. The darker the circle, the less expensive per square foot. In other words, the lighter circles are more expensive per square foot, and the darker circles less per square foot. We're going to zoom in on Lake Sumter, and the reason I'm doing this is I'm going to switch between a price per square foot and a price map, And you can get some idea as to how much easier it is to spot deals when you can filter by price per square foot. It's also worth noting that the size differences between these homes is exaggerated, and you will notice that there are very many small dots. Those are homes, although those are the smallest homes currently offered. So now that you have a sense of where the villages is located, let me show you how I've broken it down geographically. The first area I'm describing as the north. This is everything south of Highway 42 and north of Highway 466. I'm zooming in on that northern area here to give you an idea as to the smaller homes that may escape your notice unless you zoom in. This is the area that I'm referring to as the mid-north. This is everything south of 466 and north of 466A. These maps where I'm showing you the areas in the villages, we're looking at size and price per square foot. Larger the circle, larger the home, brighter the circle, the more expensive per square foot. This is the Mid-South, which is everything south of 466A and north of 44. Once again, the larger the circle, the larger the home, and the brighter the circle, the more per square foot. And this is the South, which is everything south of Highway 44. It is interesting to note all the homes in the South that have been owned for over a year starting to hit the market. So now let's dive into the entirety of the market. These are all MLS listings currently as of today, the 19th of August. 465 listings. Last week, 461. Last year, under 300. Currently, homes in the villages range from 89,000 to 2,950,000. Both of those homes are listed at the same price at which they were originally listed. I wanted to see if the slope of the trend line had changed over the last year, so I generated it for the last year alone, and that graph looks like this. Now we come to the chart that everybody follows. This is the median list price per foot for all active MLS listings. This week, 258.70. Last week, 259.33. Last year, 260. It is interesting that currently at 258.70, this is the second lowest number that we've seen so far. The lowest price per square foot was 257.89, which was July 17th of 23. So we are less than $1 higher than the lowest median price per square foot for all listings that we've seen here in the last couple of years. Here we look at how old inventory is getting. This is the median time on the market for all listings. This week, 60 days. Last week, it was also 60 days. A year ago, it was only 51 days. We're still holding near the highest levels that we've seen, and we're heading into the slower period of the year. So I would think that the next 2 or 3 months would be advantageous for buyers. So now I'm going to show you how the areas of the villages differ between them. We're looking at all MLS listings here. This week, 464 listings. The least expensive home is 89,000. The most expensive, 2,950,000. Price per square foot in the villages ranges from $82 a square foot to $789 a foot, and the sizes of homes available in the villages range from 828 to 4,216. This is for the entirety of the villages. Let me show you how the four areas differ. This is the northern area, by far the most active area in the villages on the MLS. Currently 202 listings, ranging in size from 875 to almost 3,000 square feet. Price per square foot ranging from $82 to $448 a square foot, and prices in the north range from $89,000 to just over $1 million. This is the mid-north. Once again, everything south of 466 and north of 466A. There are 141 homes for sale on the MLS in this area. Sizes range from 1,090 to 4,216 square feet, and price per square foot ranges from $203 to $442 a square foot. This is the Mid-South. 50 homes currently offered on the MLS. Sizes range from 1,156 to 3,875 square feet per foot, ranging from 210 to 789, and prices in this area range from 280 to just under 3 million. Keep in mind, this is the area that is north of 44 and south of 466A. And now we come to the newest part of the villages, the southern area, which is everything south of 44. 71 homes on the MLS. Sizes range from 828 to 2183. price per square foot ranging from 230 to 428, and prices for the homes on the MLS ranging from 245,000 to 830,000. I don't mean to belabor the point, but for those of you who are comparing the different areas of the villages, I'm going to show you price, size, and per square foot distributions. This is the price distribution. You can see how many listings are at each price point for the villages as a whole on the right, for the north, middle, south, and south on the left. Once again, this is how many listings are at each price point. Here we can compare the sizes of homes that are available in the four regions. You can see how many homes there are at each size for the villages as a whole on the right and for the four geographic regions on the left. Once again, this is the number of listings for each size of home. And this is the last of these charts. This is the dollar per square foot price offered in the different regions of the villages. You can see the price per square foot on the bottom axis, and you can see how many listings there are at each price point. Obviously, the north, the majority of listings are between $200,000 and $300,000, whereas in the south, it seems more evenly distributed. This chart is one of our favorites. We're trying to get some sense as to how much inventory is being added to the market and leaving the market every week. New listings are being added to inventory and homes going pending are being taken off the market. This week, 34 new listings and 20 homes going pending. Last week, 39 new listings and 30 homes going pending. A year ago, there were 31 new listings, but pending home sales exceeded that with 32. This graph is just the results of the previous graph. We are subtracting new listings from pending home sales. If the number is positive, then more homes are going pending than are being added to the market as new listings. If the number is negative, then there are more new listings than homes going pending. Last week, there were 14 more homes listed than when pending. Previous week, 9 more homes were listed. A year ago, 1 more home went pending than was being listed. Good news for sellers in the pending per square foot category. Last week, the homes that went pending at a median 266.06 a foot. Previous week, 256.69. A year ago, it was only 250.31. Here we're looking at how long the homes that went pending were on the market before going pending. Last week, 37.5 days. The week before, 39 days. A year ago, it was as high as 67 days. Once again, this graph is a 4-week moving average, whereas the data points are actual weekly numbers. Here's an interesting graph. We're looking at what the reduction from the original listing price was for the homes that went pending last week. Once again, the graph's a 4-week moving average. The numbers are actual data points. Last week, homes that went pending had a median reduction of almost 5%. Quite a jump from barely over 4.25% for the previous week, but very much improved from the 6.3% that homes that went pending a year ago were offering. Now let's look at the homes that closed last week. There were 34, previous week 28, a year ago 25. Prices for the homes that closed ranged from $210,000, which was actually an increase from its original list price. The highest priced home that closed last week was $945,000, originally listed at $1.1 million, which is a 14% reduction. Keep in mind that both buyers and sellers can be anxious. It never hurts to make an offer. Let me know if there's a home you're interested in. Here we look at the price per square foot realized for the homes that closed last week. I'm going to spend a bit of time on this graphic because it is actually very noteworthy. Last week, the median price for the homes that closed was $230 a square foot. The week before, it was $257, and a year ago, it was $255. So a couple of things to note. The $230 a square foot is the second lowest number that we've seen. The lowest number was on the 29th of January 2024, where the price per square foot on the homes that closed was $226 a square foot. But also noteworthy is that the difference from the previous week to last week was a drop of $27 a square foot, which is the largest drop that we've seen since we started keeping records. The previous drop was a $25 decrease, and this week we're looking at a drop of $27 a square foot. This is for the homes that closed last week. And the drop that I'm referring to is the week over week change. Another look at how long homes are staying in the market. This is the median time on the market for the homes that closed last week. They were on the market 38.5 days. Previous week, median 37 days, improving from a year ago when it was 41 days. But I would point out that if you look at this graph, you can see that for the period of August through January, the time on the market generally seems to increase dramatically, and we're only at the beginning of August now. It's possible that we could see this number approaching 75 days on the market before the year is out. We've started keeping track of this. This is comparing sales per week, year over year. Red line 2024, green line 2023, and the blue line 2022. It is nice seeing an uptick in sales this week to 34 compared to 25 a year ago and compared to 22 2 years ago. But the overall direction for the prior 2 years from now through the end of the year is less activity. Another one of our newer charts, we're looking at inventory divided by sales on a weekly basis. This week, 13 and a half weeks of inventory. Last week, 16 and a half weeks. A year ago, it was only 11.8 weeks. Here's a graph that seems to show that sellers are getting more serious. This is the percentage of listings that have reduced their asking price from the original list price. This week, almost 54% have. Last week, barely over 52 had. A year ago, it was over 55.5% that had. But as I said, this is traditionally slower through the end of the year, so we'll see if this number increases. Small confirmation here, although we'll have to keep watching. We're seeing the amount that sellers are offering as a reduction from the original list price increasing, i.e. they're offering a greater discount. This week, 4.29% less than the original list price. Last week, only 4.2, but a year ago, almost 4.6. With the changes in the real estate market, with buyers and sellers essentially responsible for compensating their own agents, the marketplace has really changed. It is more important than ever that you have a realtor who can actually add value to the transaction, whether it's finding a deal for you, negotiating the deal for you, ensuring a trouble-free close. If you're a buyer and you're trying to find a good deal in the villages, or you're a seller and you're trying to maximize your return, please consider using me, David is in Florida. And if you have any questions about the villages, life in the villages, real estate in the villages, or Central Florida itself, please give me a call. Hope to hear from you. Take care.